Welcome to Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. Hello, and welcome to Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. Listen, I have some ladies here today that I will introduce, but let's first talk about what we're going to talk about. The internet is talking, and the opinions are all over the place. A man called Russell Wilson, lame, for doing what so many men do, providing for his family. Today, we're breaking it down. What does it really mean to be a provider, protector, and strong man in a relationship? We'll talk money, values, and what respect looks like in modern Black relationships. On our panel today, we have Dr. Alicia, marriage therapist, or is it relationship therapist and professor? We have Aisha Verzi, our financial service expert, and Mary, who I'm seeing for the first time, I think since ABNC 2019. And great to see you, Mary. Thank you, ladies, for joining us. Let's jump right into the topic. And first thoughts. Aisha, I'll start with you. First thoughts, a man being called lame for taking care of his family. What are your thoughts?
Wow. That was my thought. Wow. I don't know who raised the person that was saying that and why they would even think to say such a thing, because it made no sense to me. Absolutely no sense. That was my first thought.
Dr. Alicia, first thoughts.
Man calls Russell Wilson lame for providing for his family. I don't know. Is that a man, or should it be like even a boy would think that? And I don't even know. Even children know that family is important. I'm not certain what word to use, if you should call him a man or person. No, actually, someone who is triggered by watching another person demonstrate healthy relationship and healthy family. He himself, whoever this person is, he himself has some insecurities and is triggering something in that person. Maybe we'll get into who this person is that made this statement and where they're coming from. They may be coming from a place of pain and hurt. So I'm really curious, I'm a therapist, so I'm always curious about, okay, you just made this outrageous statement. Where is this coming from? Like, what is his reference and what's his thinking about you're lame because you're taking care of your family? Like, what does that mean for him?
I love the way you're always kind of not responding the way we respond. You respond like a therapist, like, okay, let's look at him. Maybe he might have some problems. Mary, first thoughts. A man who's providing for his family is seen as lame.
The first thing that comes to my mind is Willie Lynch syndrome. Willie Lynch syndrome. It is the classic tale of, I think, us given negative programming at that time, and some of us unfortunately continuing to run that negative program. So sounds like somebody is listening to Massa to me.
Okay, let's check out a video and hear exactly where he was maybe coming from.
I saw it, I did, and I saw answer. And then she want to go back to, but he's a loving person and a great husband. I didn't say he's not a great husband. It's amazing what he's doing with Lil Future. Like, the dude is a good human. He is lame still. I don't know if anybody doesn't understand. They're not running me off of this point. Lame is an opinion. She even said it. So who's saying? Because that's their opinion. Yeah. She's from Atlanta. I'm from Atlanta. She wasn't going to date Russ back in 2000. Time came forward. She evolved to dating the lame dude. He is a good person, a good human being, but the dude is lame. Y'all know what lame is, bro. You know how many people? I'm not putting nobody else in my boat because I'm peddling this by myself. I've talked to a number of people that's like, bro, you're right. He's not like that. He's inner city Atlanta dude is not hanging out with Russell Wilson. That's what I'm saying. It's lame. The dude does not. He got that moose shit in his hair. Honestly, bro, y'all looking around because y'all even know I'm right. The dude is not a cool person, but that's my opinion. Right. You go find the boys that play at Wisconsin and Nebraska, they'll hang out with us. A dude from inner city Atlanta is not hanging out with Russell Wilson. That's what I say. Lame to me is different than lame to y'all, is different than lame to, I guarantee him and Logan Mankins would get along. You see y'all understand what I'm saying? I guarantee him and some square ass dude from somewhere would get along. I'm looking at him and saying, man, I never with him, he's lame. That's my point. It's opinion, lame, cool's opinion, and y'all ain't running me off of this forever.
Okay, I have my own thoughts, but let's hear what you ladies have to say. What does Aisha, what does providing for your family mean to you?
You know, when you have a family, it's a place of trust and a place of comfort and confidence, right? Just imagine if you don't have that. So maybe some people don't have that, but to me, that's what family is. When you have that protection, where you know that whatever is happening around this group of people, whether it's your dad and your mom, will take care of you. You'll have a roof over your head. You make sure that you have clean clothes and food to eat. It doesn't have to be material heavy things, but just having that protection around you, almost like a guardrail around you, and you have that confidence, knowing that they will do that for you. That to me is what having your family provide for you means to me, and that place of peace and being welcomed, right? And not what I'm still thinking about what he just said, but
I think he's also right in saying that he defines lame differently than everybody else, because it sounds like he was describing a provider and protector. No, a provider and a protector as lame. So, Dr. Alicia, what does providing for your family mean to you?
Yeah, that's interesting. It's contributing to the household, of course. But now that I'm listening to this guy, I don't know who he is. I'm not familiar with him. Maybe someone will tell me who he is. But now I understand why this guy, he explained it a little more. And now I'm understanding. I think he's talking about how Russell Wilson carries himself. So there is sort of an element in Russell Wilson that doesn't prescribe to inner city Atlanta or like Chicago culture in a sense. Like, I think there's almost like a maybe Russell Wilson is coming across to someone like him as like he's better than. So it's almost like you can tell. Thank you, Deborah, talking about hoodish, a little hoodish. Not that there's anything. I just want to say the hoodish sort of thing. There's nothing wrong with that culture. There's not one person is not better than another. It's just a difference. Like when Russell Wilson speaks, the way he talks, the way he dresses, the way he presents himself, it is not congruent with hood stuff, because Deborah helped me define it, right? It's not congruent with that. Like, so he is representing maybe in this person's mind, like almost like he's reacting more to maybe how that person may have been treated when he's around somebody who is maybe someone who thinks they're better than, and they look at them, be like, you lame, you're not wearing chains, you're not fitting into this prescribed hood culture. I'm using air quotes, right? Hood culture. He's not adhering to this hood culture, and that he is Russell Wilson and his family. If you look at pictures of them and how they present themselves and their backgrounds, it is very wholesome. They are Christians to the core. You know, they always talking about praying together. They present themselves in a way that is different from how Sierra's background. So he's saying, no, she's from Atlanta, I guess, and she's from the hood. She's supposed to adhere to that. So Sierra is on her own journey, and it's a beautiful journey, very inspiring. She leveled up to her song, you know, and I think that he is more reacting to that sort of thing. Yeah.
What does providing for your family mean to you, Mary?
I'm just so excited to be on this platform, and especially here today with the beautiful Mrs. Boyce Watkins. And say, and I love this question. I'm glad you asked me, because I think it gives me an opportunity to give a shout out to him and his beautiful wife and say what it takes for a man to be a provider for his family, and not just for his family, but for the entire Black community. And so I'm just so proud of him. I remember coming to you guys' wedding, and, I really learned a big lesson watching him marry you and knowing him and seeing him in the community before you and looking at him after you. And honey, when I tell you, you upgraded him, and I think I've been able to heal that concept of family and what it means, why people like to see us come together and unite, and what that really means. And so, I thank you for that image. It's important. I thank Russell Wilson for allowing us in the Black community to even get it. Yeah, they calling it lame now, but as you know, these are the people that are in a sex recession, right? The men are not getting the cookie because the women have put the cookie back in the cookie jar. So, so who's really lame? Isn't it lame getting the cookie? So no, these guys are really cool, and I think that that's what us women are starting to learn. He's not lame. You know what my friends used to tell me? Corny come home at night.
Yeah. Listen, I think providing for your family is very basic. They need to feel provided for in terms of very basic things like a roof over their head, food in the fridge or the pantry. They feel safe. That's a provider and a protector, and it's very basic. And I don't see how anybody can see that as lame. And I think, as Dr. Alicia said, I think some of it has to do with whether he's a cool kid or not, or a street guy or not. And they're defining a guy who looks too suburban or quote unquote too white as lame. And I think I'm too old to pay attention to stuff like that. But anyway, we'll talk some more when we come back from this commercial break.
It's a good show right here. But I'm biased. If you are just tuning in, you are watching Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. My name is Tiara Williams. I'm also known as Miss Black Hollywood, and I'm the proud producer of this show because it is lit. If you want to receive notifications for when we go live Monday through Friday, 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All you have to do is text the word Queens to 87948. That's Queens to 87948. That's QUEENS to 87948. Also, if you want to grow your money and not blow your money, all you have to do is go to flynubianmoney.com. There's all kinds of resources, there's courses, there's free giveaways. There's just no reason to be broke in 2025. All you have to do is go to flynubianmoney.com. Obviously, you don't want to be entertained here. You want to know enough to grow. Wait, I need to put that on a shirt. You got to know to grow. Got to know to grow. So know and grow with flynubianmoney.com.
No, and grow and put it on a t-shirt. I want to put on a t-shirt, I am lame, or my husband is lame. Since since that's how we're defining lame nowadays, as a man who protects and provides and respects himself, and I'm lame AF. I've seen the young people putting AF and I can't say the words. Can a man be seen as weak for financially supporting his family? That blows my mind, but I'll ask you first, Mary. Can a man be seen as weak for financially supporting his family? I don't see how, but let's hear it.
Only by weak people. Only by people who don't want to grow. Only on a low vibrate. That's a low vibration plate. That's a low vibration thought. That's a low vibration people. And when you think about it, I hate to say it, but we're maybe the only race of people where it's upside down world in certain parts of the Black community. Because I ain't gonna give that to everybody, because it sure is not y'all this is the home for Fly Nubian queens and kings and people who walk in their purpose. So that's not us. But yeah, so unfortunately, some people live in that way, but that's not. No, everybody else, what it takes to be a man. Men want to grow up and be strong men like their fathers, like their fathers' fathers. They want to support a family. They want to grow a family. They want to support their community. They want to make money. Part of that is figuring out, I want to be a woman, wanting to test yourself and be materialize the best version of yourself in this lifetime. So that's for weak societies, not for places where people that are trying to grow.
I was having a problem with the question in the first place. Dr. Alicia, I won't ask you and Daisha that same question because I just don't see how financially providing for your family can make you weak. But let's see the next video and hear what they have to say.
Yeah, baby. Standing on.
Shannon is not pivoted, okay, from his stance on Russell Wilson at all.
But let me ask you a question. I didn't hear the first time. I seen the clip where he said it was, but what did he say made him lame? Is it because he takes care of his wife, or is it just the way that he looks, the way that he acts, the way that he talks? Like, what did he say that makes him lame?
He said because he puts moose in his head.
So just the moose in his head to make him lame?
Yes, but I will say the part that you're talking about, when the whole, because he takes care of his family and he's a family man and his wife and all the things, that did come back up because Ryan Clark actually has some comments about that. Let's take a listen to that.
Hearing Charlamagne say your name when referencing Russell Wilson was a little stunning, but that's what they do, on the show. I thought Sierra handled it like a woman and with a ton of class. She didn't want to get into name calling. As far as the Russell Wilson piece, I believe Doug Baldwin, Mike Robb, and Marshawn just had a conversation, and they talked about Hawaiian shirts and flood waters. And there is the time, especially in our culture, where some of those things aren't cool. And cool is a big thing to us because we got some cool mother effers in our culture. I think where I felt things went left was when DJ Envy brought up because he loves his wife or because he loves his children. The coolest thing about Russell Wilson is the way he loves his family. We got an opportunity to meet Future at Pittsburgh camp. I got an opportunity to meet him at the Pro Bowl. And there is no difference between that child and the children that Russell Wilson and Sierra made together.
Ryan, I love the pivot, by the way, but Ryan loses me sometime, though, because I can't tell when he's performing for his audience or when he's being sincere, because there's absolutely no way that hearing me say Channing's name was stunning in reference to people calling Russell Wilson corny, because he's sits next to Channing Crowder, who started that rhetoric. Right. And by the way, I misquoted Channing. Channing said he was lame. He said he was square. Yeah. He said that Sierra was just with him for the money. Dang. So all I said was corny. So I actually misquoted Channing. Yeah. Sorry, Channing.
So apparently recently, Future's child who lives with Sierra and Russell Wilson, they changed his name to use Russell's name, and his father, Future, said he doesn't give an F. So again, I'm just taken aback by how this man could possibly be seen as lame when he is not only taking care of his own family, but extending it to a child that came with his wife. And I've never heard him complain or anything. I've only ever heard about how good he is to the children, to the children equally, and to his wife. So I'm just not sure. But I want to ask you this. I'll start with you, Dr. Alicia. How do societal expectations influence perceptions of men as providers? Societal expectations.
Yeah, so this conversation is getting into I love how we're taking this and blowing it up into like, let's have a conversation about providers. I think that warrants. But I just wanted to just say, because we saw a couple of clips earlier, is that, so what we're talking about is a blended family, and 70% of all families are blended. So blended families are the norm, pretty much. And that's okay, right? So it's all about, so we're talking about maybe they are adhering to this sort of way in which you are to grow up, you are to find the love of your life within this time zone while you're childbearing age, and then you get married to this one person and you have a family, and that's what happens until you retire, death do us part. That is really a lovely model. So I'm wondering if it's more about that model as the gold standard versus a story like even Dr. Boyce's story, where his father adopted him. I mean, this sounds a lot like Dr. Boyce's story. It sounds like our marriage. We are a blended family. We're bringing our families together. And maybe that sort of thing, we're shifting to this sort of situation. And data is showing not one is better than the other. Blended families can be just as healthy, sometimes even more than I guess the traditional intact family. So I'm wondering if that is more of what that conversation is. And people who have an issue with Sierra and Russell, and like, I almost wonder, like, is there a sense of jealousy that's happening? Maybe people are looking at that and saying, oh, wow, that is so great. It's picture perfect family. Not to say that everything is wonderful, but I'm just wondering if there's some sense of jealousy. And oh my God, I just want to say, I want to thank you so much for the beautiful comment you made. It's going to the convention is just eye-opening, because I'm just here. I'm here in my basement by myself here, just talking, and you never know how people see you and everything. So the convention is just really beautiful. And I will say, yeah, I mean, I just want to comment, just being married to Dr. Boyce, like, yeah, I've helped him out, but he's helped me tremendously. Like, it was funny because I was talking about it yesterday that when we first started dating, I was like, no, I'm not going on your YouTube channel. That's what I said. I said, I am not going on your YouTube channel. No way, no how. And never in a million years did I ever think that I would ever start a business. Never would have done it. Never would have thought I had it in me to do it. So it's vice versa. And that's what family is about, really, is helping each other out, is complimenting each other. It's when one person is down, another person lifts you up. It's the journey of life, and being able to be cohesive and together and on the same page and have the same values, have the same perspective and the same level of commitment and trust. That's really what's important. And that's really what we see in Russell and Sierra.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you know what I find interesting is that if you take a look at the people who are having the most problems with Russell and Sierra, you're gonna find that those people actually grew up with just a mom and no dad, and somehow somebody taking in somebody like them rubs them the wrong way. And I've never understood that. I would think that my response, if I was in that position, would be, wow, what a guy. I didn't get to experience that, and somebody has done that for another child who was just like me. But those are the people who get so agitated. I mean, you will see them sometimes, they end up never getting married ever. And they're talking about, I'm not taking anybody's baby mama and all this. And anybody who takes on somebody with kids is so lame. And because that's where that whole thing started, was that he married her and she already had a kid with somebody who they considered a street guy or whatever. And that's what has always labeled him as lame. Like, how could he, why would you take care of somebody else's children and so forth? But those people are those very people who didn't get taken in. So maybe there is some validity to that there's some jealousy that they feel. Aisha, I want to ask you the same question. How do you think societal expectations influence perceptions of men as providers?
For me, being from a mixed blessed home, having marrying somebody from here and I'm from Africa, I can see that, society norms actually are similar, where the father is a provider and it's supposed to be that way. Regardless of where we come from, there's always that essence of having a strong man in the family. It doesn't have to be strong like hard, but that's loving, and he is there to shelter and make sure his family is okay no matter what. So that to me, the norm is the norm where I grew up back home. That's how my father was. That's how my husband is. Even though my husband is a completely total different culture, but it's the same way of life, right? So I don't understand why people see it so like, oh, the Black community, they have to be this way. Like, something is missing. There's a disconnect because it makes no sense. And for me personally, believe that if we just do what is right for those that are in front of us, whether or not they are ours or not, whether they're born from blood or from our heart, I think we'll be fine. What is happening is there's too much separation. Oh, it's not mine, so I won't take care of him. Or if somebody takes care of someone like a child, like Russell is doing, he's lame. Like, really, how can you be lame when you're doing the right thing? When you're doing the right thing as a human being, as a man, how can that be a lame thing? So I think culturally, though, unfortunately, in our culture specifically, we seem to have this divide about what a family is supposed to look like. I don't know what is always happening, but something has to be done with that, where we don't keep moving away from what really God wants for us. Because I believe that if we look even at the first family, Jesus and his adopted, right? It's a single mother, and he took care of her. So I don't know why it's such a big deal where we keep separating. And I hope that we work towards bringing everybody together. This guy that maybe has the hoodish way of thinking, he'll think about it differently. Even if he didn't have it, perhaps he can learn from somebody, and somebody can bring him and show him that this is the right way. The pain you feel is because you didn't have that. Hopefully that will make things better if he gives himself a chance.
Mary, when we come back from commercial, we're about to go to commercial. I'm glad you brought that up, Aisha, that we're talking more about emotional support and talking about defining a strong man as not just being hard, but also sometimes being strong enough to be vulnerable, accessible, show his emotions. So we'll talk about that when we come back from commercial.
I know you're busy, you got things to do, and you can't take us on the go with you every single day. Good news for you. We are now on Spotify. So if you can't watch us, now you can listen to us on Spotify. Search Fly Nubian Money and all the episodes shall appear. All you have to do is like, subscribe, leave a 5-star rating, leave some comments, tell people how you love us, so that when other people come along and are looking for a great show to watch, they can find Fly Nubian Money too. One last thing, and just in case you've been sitting under a rock, Fly Nubian Money now has an investment club. We are the Fly Nubian Money Club. It's easy. All you have to do is go to flynubianmoneyclub.com, and I am committed to bringing in top experts from all industries to help you level up. They're teaching us the skills that we need to compete in this market. We often say that nobody is coming to save us, not the government, but guess what? We're coming to save us. I'm coming to save you with the Fly Nubian Money Club. So listen, all you have to do again is go to flynubianmoneyclub.com. We have a 30-day free trial set up just for you, just for those people that are struggling. Even if you ain't struggling, you ain't got to struggle. I'm coming. Okay, let me stop playing. I'll see you soon.
I'm coming.
FlyNubianMoneyClub.com. Listen, I am the queen of marriage, motherhood, and money making being balanced. Money making is in there, okay? Okay, so Mary, is emotional support as important as financial support in a relationship? And I think we're talking here about, because we've been focusing so much about the men. So is it as important for a man to be emotionally supportive as he is maybe a provider or a financial supporter?
You have to say yes. You definitely want somebody who's emotional intelligence, I'll never forget, I met the Black Bull of Wall Street. This guy, the love of my 30s. Oh, I'll tell y'all a little bit. See, and the Black Bull of Wall Street, and he told me he would not date me because he said I have zero emotional intelligence. But do you want to be my lawyer? True story. Yeah. And so emotional intelligence is up there. If you don't have, all the money in the world does not overcompensate, will never overcompensate for true love. And people they chase it in the form of drugs, in the form of, all kind of other things, but there is just no food, whatever addiction, but there's just no substitute. And so you're right. There is this big concern on men just being, just providing money. But I think that's because a lot of women have kind of given up on love.
Okay, let's take a look at some stats. In the US, 65% of men see themselves as primary providers in their household, 65%. According to Pew Research, dual income households are rising, but men still feel pressure to lead financially. Social media posts criticizing men for providing often go viral, reflecting a tension between traditional and modern expectations. Studies show that financial pressure is the #1 reason new businesses close early. So I'm going to put this out there. I always put it out there when I get the opportunity, okay? If you come to my house where I live with my husband and my kids, or our kids, and you find the house filthy and you leave, I can bet you, if you're a woman and you're talking to other women, you're not going to say, wow, that man is filthy. No, you're going to say that woman is filthy, because there's an underlying expectation that the keeper of the home is the woman. And the same thing applies to men. If they're in a financial crisis, even if they're a two income household, most of the eyes are looking at the man like, whoa, you better handle your business. Okay. So I don't think we can ever escape the fact that society or perceptions or whatever, that those exist in their underlying, no matter how modern we think we are. But I'll let you weigh in on that, Dr. Alicia. Is emotional support as important as financial, do you think?
Emotional support is, if not even more important than financial support. And I think what you're talking about are these scripts that we have, this sort of template that we have that's, that's talked about when we watch television and the media, and a lot of what we saw when we were growing up. And in our own households, we saw the women taking on these more traditional roles in the household, and men taking on, doing the yard work and some of the literally heavy lifting in the household. That's sort of the model that we saw growing up. And no matter how modern we think we are, when we get married and have kids and all of that, we tend to slide into these roles, and women are exhausted. So because of that, and I think because it's because of economic challenges, women are working inside, outside of the home. Even if it's remotely, it's still outside of the home. And so now it's getting to the point where we're going to have to rethink this sort of thing, and to run your household as a team. It's a teamwork that really makes it work. Everybody contributes. Everybody picks up behind themselves. Everybody can cook. Everybody can clean. Everybody makes the household. And it's being able to support each other where another person is not available, another person shows up. So this is what happens that creates a more satisfying marriage, is when it's just, you're not leaving your spouse alone. You're not putting unneeded pressure, because remember, we have economic pressures outside of the house. And so you need to be able to look at your partner and say, I'm not feeling well. Please, let's work together to make sure the kids are fed and bathed and in the bed, and all of the responsibilities that it takes to run a household and to run your marriage like a business. It takes a lot of teamwork. And families that are able to do that and to take a look at that and say, you know what, this is not working, because I can't drop everything onto my wife and I can't drop all of the financial pressures on my husband. We have to figure out a way that works together, that works for us. And so that's one of the things that we're seeing, that a lot of African American families, by the way, are really embracing this egalitarian style in terms of running their households, and they're happier for it. Black fathers are more involved with their children than any other group of people, and that's what the numbers say. Yeah.
Yeah, see, I'm old school and I'm a traditionalist, but I won't belabor it. Aisha, sorry, I'm not gonna drop it all at once. Aisha, emotional support versus financial support. What's more important when you're looking at a husband or the head of the family, or the man in the family? Because now there could be an argument that he's not the head. So I'm just saying the man in the family.
I think it's both. I don't think there's one or the other. I think it's both. When I've seen a man or a father provide financially for the family and also emotionally available, the kids are more balanced, right? They are more able to adhere to life and be more able to have a good life. It's just natural, because if you have what you need and your dad is also present, you have this sense of, again, peace and wholeness. So I think that for me personally, that's what I've experienced in my growing up. My dad was in the military, he was available, and my mom had a business. So they kind of, like Dr. Alicia was saying, work as a team. That's what I saw. And my dad would sit down with each of us, talk to us. What are you doing? What's going on? Do you have homework? He was there, and he would sit down and just listen to you. And so when I looked for my own husband, I looked for the same. I wanted a man that was going to be around. I didn't want a man that was always gone, because I'm not used to that. My dad was always there. So that's what I did. I married a man that he's around. He loves the kids. He takes them out. They do things together. We do things together. Really team effort. So both is important, financially and emotionally, because then we become really citizens of the world, not just one or the other, right? So I think it's both.
Understood. We have another video.
At what age, as Black men, do you all give up wanting to be cool? Ryan Clark brought up the interview that Sierra did on The Breakfast Club and how he felt she handled it with grace. My issue is that what should have been done was you all should have been apologizing. Instead, you talked in circles and still ended up promoting this stereotype that Black men are not cool if they not street niggas. On to say how Sierra handled this with grace, and because Channon's name was brought up by DJ Envy, and how, the coolest thing about Russell Wilson is how he takes care of his family. Channing goes on to say that nobody's going to, change his mind about what he said. And he said, Sierra wouldn't have picked, she's from Atlanta, she wouldn't have picked a guy like Russell Wilson if she was still in Atlanta. Now, he then goes on to say that Russell Wilson would be considered cool to inner city Atlanta dudes like him. This man is 41 years old with 3 children, his oldest being a girl. So what you're telling me and the rest of the world is that it's okay for your daughter to go out and date a Future because he's cool, but not Russell Wilson because he's not cool to inner city guys. The ridiculous thing to me is that you are even using inner city dudes from Atlanta as a place to measure. You're measuring Russell Wilson. You're comparing Russell Wilson to dudes in Atlanta who probably ain't never left the hood. And this right here, this type of shit right here, is why it is so difficult for young Black boys to ever see themselves being an individual. This is what happens when you give ignorance money. This is what happens when the only option that a lot of them feel they have is rap, the streets, and fucking sports. Why is it that we want to put lame next to people who don't want to share in those experiences of having to come out of the trenches? That wasn't that man's life. So y'all want him to go around here flogging? Y'all want him to go around here acting like he a real street dude, and he know for a fact that that is not who he is? That was never his life? So you're going to penalize him for...
Round and round and round and round. Why are we calling somebody who's obviously a responsible, available protector and provider to his family? Why are we calling him lame? She made a great point where she says, does he want his own daughter to be with a Future rather than a Russell? And unfortunately, sometimes people do. Mary, this one, I'm going to start with you on this one. How do you think, or how do gender roles impact relationships in the Black community? Gender roles, how do they impact relationships in the Black community?
Oh, how do gender roles impact relationships in the... I hope not much anymore. I hope, in 2025, in 2025, now that we got this rainbow community, I think people are just doing what they want to do. And even when you get into gender roles, you can see two women playing out gender roles, and you can see two men playing out gender roles. And so, I think everybody is just doing what fits them. That's what I see.
How do gender roles impact relationships in the Black community? The way I see it often is that the gender roles have kind of disappeared. And we've even gotten to a point where it's almost as if people are offended by gender roles. And I've said a lot of times that I'm very traditional, and I believe in traditional gender roles, even if we kind of become, not so rigid about them, right? But again, women and men are different, and trying to pretend that we're the same and we can all do the same things, I'll just never subscribe to that. I'm sorry, I just won't. I'm the kind of woman that when my husband or the boys on the kitchen, I'm kind of looking like, can I help you? And when I come from the grocery store with a bunch of heavy bags, I just walk in the car and I'm just like, oh guys, I went grocery shopping, and they know what to do. And I don't see anything wrong with that. I love that. I love that I can be dependent on them in that way, and they can be dependent on me in other ways. And that's how I see teamwork. I don't expect them to do certain things, and they don't expect me to do certain things. And that's how we balance out our family. And that's what I grew up with. And it saddens me that that is kind of disappearing off. And we're now trying to push this idea that we're all the same, and, equality and all of this other stuff. I'm sorry, I just can't subscribe to that. But Aisha, I want to hear what you have to say about gender roles and how they're impacting the Black community.
I think we're equal, but just different, because we're equal in who we are as human beings, husband and wife, or man and woman, but we're just different. We're built differently. We have different emotions. We view things differently. We just do. And I agree too. I love being a woman. I don't want to be doing the stuff that men have to deal with. I don't want to do that. I want to do my own stuff. So I think that the fact that in our culture today, there's this trying to blur the line between men and women, is, to me, I don't think it's a good idea, because then it makes it hard for really for us to thrive in a way where if a young girl now wants to be a woman and just be taken care of, she feels like, oh, it's wrong. And there's nothing, to me, there's nothing wrong with that. If I go to the market, if I go to the market and come home, I just grab my bag and work in the house. And the men know what to do. My son and my husband know what to do. They get everything, anything that's heavy. I don't have to do that. And I like that. Maybe some women like doing it on their own. That's fine. But I think that there is a difference where the heavy lifting is done by the men, and the women do the easier stuff. That's how I feel. And I think that being a woman is an incredible, huge responsibility as well. To be a mother, to carry a child for 9 months and then give birth. All the leaders of the world came from a woman. So there's something about a woman, and then a man has his own role. So I think for me, I prefer that everybody stays in their lane. We're equal, but we're different. And we should celebrate the difference and enjoy it and revere it the way God has intended it to be, right? That is my take on that.
Dr. Alicia, how are gender roles impacting relationships in the Black community, the way you see it?
The way I see it, I think, yeah, I mean, you point, women are the ones who carry the children. Nursing, I nursed all my children, so, when I was nursing, I'm like, give me some water because I'm thirsty, all of these things that happen. And I think, it is getting in where you fit in. I have a husband now who travels a lot. Even my first husband traveled a lot. So I was there with the groceries. I didn't take the groceries in because there was no one else there to do it. And I got it done. And there were moments where I was having my baby, and then, my husband at the time, he was taking care of the kids, it was really getting in. It's understanding and supporting each other, because in a lot of ways, gender roles are socially constructed. It's not necessarily always biology. It's the social construction. Men do cook. Men can cook. Women can, or sometimes they just are. I don't know. I grew up, my dad showed me how to change a tire, all these things. If I'm ever stranded, I would know how to do these sort of things. And so you pick up things where there is to be, when I'm naturally inclined to want to be calm. And I think that where it gets to a certain point where it could be problematic is where these gender roles put you in a box and you feel contained by them. And it's just like, no, I am interested. Maybe I'm interested in science. If this was a conversation from 40 years ago, it'd be like, no, I don't want to be a science teacher. I want to be a scientist. I want to do some of these things. So all of us as individuals have gifts that we have in us that we really want to give. And some of these socially constructed roles can put us in a box. And I think that's where it gets to be a little bit too much.
I think what you're kind of saying is, not that I can say it better than you, is we don't want anybody oppressed. We don't want to oppress people with what we think they should be. And of course, that we can never win if we're oppressing the women or if we are oppressing the men in any way. We have some comments from our viewers. Big Bamp says it's lame as F that he's saying this about another grown man. Bama Tech says, now if Russ says something about Chan and his white mama and him cosplaying in Black folks' business, he'd be wrong. Last Chef 9 says, Channing standing on high school ignorance in his 40s is crazy work. Ex-athletes struggle to leave teenage mindset without trying to evolve. I think I'm proud of the internet. I'm proud of our viewers because they are showing us that even though we're saying that that's a view, because I do see it on social media a lot, and I never really understood why Russell Wilson was being called lame, corny, stupid. I mean, it's been a whole thing for years. I've seen it on the internet for years, and I'm now starting to understand that it's just about different expectations. People expect a man to be rough and tough in a very threatening way, and if he's not, then he's lame. They expect him to be running the streets, and if he's not, then he's lame. And I think maybe we should rethink those definitions, I think. Yeah. And stop putting people. Mary's making a box. You want to say what it is, Mary? You want to say it?
Just stop putting people in boxes.
Yeah. See, the box I'm in, I signed up for it. I happily jumped into the box. Okay? Nobody had to force me into that box. I love it in my box, and I don't want to get out of my box. And so again, I go back to the whole idea that we want to if you want gender roles in your family, have them. If you don't, then marry somebody who doesn't see it that way. But don't force anybody and don't oppress anybody with it. Is I think what we can all agree on. We have one more commercial.
Are you a Black business owner looking to expand your reach? Well, has Fly Nubian Money got good news for you? We are building a Black business directory to connect you with customers who need your services. And here is the best part. It is absolutely free. Email us at info@realvirtual.net. Send us your business name. Tell us a little bit about what you do, what services you offer, your website address, and your contact information. That's it. Together, we are going to build and circulate the Black dollar. Get listed today and start connecting with people who are probably already looking for you.
So Sierra was recently on the Breakfast Club, and she was asked how she felt about men who were coming for her husband and calling him a simp and a lame and all those things. Her answer was very classy and unbothered, but let's jump into some intergenerational trauma studies. The backlash against Russell was never about his marriage and more about what Russell himself represents. He disrupts the narrative of what masculinity is, right? In society and even hip-hop culture, masculinity is considered dominance, control, and emotional detachment. But what Russell Wilson has decided to do was incorporate devotion and vulnerability, in addition to being successful and wealthy. All of the masculine things, right? But he challenges that narrative, and that's why a lot of them are being stirred up with this resentment, because they're seeing someone, particularly a Black woman, be loved in a way that their mother wasn't.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm so glad she said that. I'm so glad that she said that. And she actually talked about hip hop. I think that's the word we were missing. The hip hop culture is the one that's kind of defining masculinity. So I want to ask this question, and I'll start with you, Mary. Should men feel pressure to financially provide, even if it stresses them?
Yes. Yes.
How are you?
I mean, because as a Black woman, it stresses me. So if anybody should be stressed, it should be you. I'm supposed to be a princess sitting on a pillow somewhere. Right. So, you were built for it. What you think God gave you that testosterone for anyway? So it'll grow some hair on your chest. It's good for you.
I was also about to say, oh, excuse us, Nancy, you're stressed by having to take care of the finances? Oh, sorry.
Having a baby is stressful. Carrying a baby for 9 months is stressful.
Thank you.
It's stressful. I mean, so I've heard.
Mm-hmm.
It's true. And the truth is that, again, even though we have these messages around everybody kind of taking on similar roles, it's actually been proven over and over and over that a man, when he's stressed, will actually be strengthened by that. A woman is weakened by stress or challenges. And I don't care if anybody believes me or not. Like, if I get too stressed, I can break down and start crying. But I'd be horrified if I saw men under stress break down and start crying. Do they have moments where they are showing their vulnerability and they're speaking about what stresses them and so forth? But in the heat of the moment, if a man would break down and boo-hoo cry like I would, then we have a problem. So I think that the way that we see stress and pressure, or the way that we experience it and it impacts us, is different. Mm-hmm. Aisha, what do you think?
Yes, of course, he should take the financial pressure. He should. That doesn't mean he will be like suffering and I won't support him or be there for him. But it should be something that is his responsibility as a provider of the family. And I'll do my part to support my husband if there's financial stress in the house. Maybe, the woman's role of knowing how to, a woman can multiply things, right? Women know how to multiply things. And she can come in and be a support in that way, where she will assure him in a way that, hey, I know you're stressed. I know you provide for us financially. You're the one we look up to. Things are tough right now. It actually happened to us just this year. My husband, where he's been working for over 15 years almost. And he was just one day, he came into work and said, today's your last day that we have made some changes. And he had to, leave that place of work. So as a family. He's a provider. We even though I have a business, but we just focus on him as a provider. And he came, of course, he was disappointed for a while, but we had a chat. As a wife, I supported him. I said, look, listen, this has happened, and we will get through it. We have our plans in place. Let's just walk through it together. But he still carried that on him, and he was out there looking and trying to find something else to do until he now finally found something just last month. Right? This happened in February, but at the end of the day, it was still on him. I never took, oh, now I'm going to provide for the family. No, it was still on him. He was the one that went to bed worried about it, not me. I was just here to keep the kids okay. The house is good. Make sure that I supported him and prayed for him so that he can have the strength to keep going out there until he found something. So yeah, it is his responsibility, I believe, and that gives him strength too, that somebody believes in him and that he can do this. And that's exactly what he's doing it again.
Dr. Alicia, your thoughts on the financial pressure on a man?
Yeah, everybody has a financial pressure. I think, my thinking about the question, my response would be, yeah, a man should provide financially to the household. Everybody works. If you're an adult and you live in the house, everybody got to work. Everybody contributes. So yeah, that pressure is on the man. However, it's important not to base your relationship 100% totally on how a man is able to provide. I'm not going to base my relationship on whether you provide. I've told my husband all the time, I'm like, okay, if this all goes belly up, I got your back. I've told him that many times. I'm like, go take a risk, go do it, but don't feel like you don't have anybody in your corner rooting for you. Like, and believing in you and knowing that you can do it, take that risk, but I got your back. I have resources, to encourage you. So I'm gonna say that it is important, but I'm not saying it is the essential thing where if something happens like what Aisha talked about, I'm just not going to be like, forget it, we're done for, because you cannot pay for something right now. It's just, I think that's the difference. Putting the pressure on them. We're adults. We're adulting. We all got pressures, right? But I'm not going to base our relationship based on how much money, what numbers in your checking account. Are you worthy of being with me? No, that's not, I don't think that's a wise decision. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's obviously a lot more to a relationship than is he going to bring the check or not?
That's right.
But if you want to broaden that, we are talking about it's his role and his responsibility. And I think again, there are different opinions about that. There are people who don't even want to call the husband the head of the family because it makes the woman seem subordinate. They don't want, so I recognize those things, and I'm always gonna, 10 toes down that, head me, lead me. I'm okay with that, but I understand that not everybody feels that way and not everybody sees it that way. Just going into our final thoughts, ladies, I'm going to ask one more question, and then you can say your final thoughts after that, as you answer that question, and then we'll close out. And this is a great question after we talk about a man and whether we attach value to him as a provider. Do men get enough recognition for their sacrifices in relationships? Do they get enough recognition? Mary, what do you think? Do men get enough? Let's focus on our own community. In our community, do men get enough recognition for their sacrifices in relationships?
I'm such an optimist, so I have to say yes, because I always say yes to everything because I'm positive. But I have to say yes, and I think that if I just gave Dr. Boyce Watkins his flowers right here next to his beautiful wife. So I have to say yes, because that's, I'm just an optimist. But I think that if a man feels like that he's not getting enough recognition, well, that's usually why men leave and go find the woman who is going to appreciate his efforts and love him for his efforts and pour into him. So, but if the man chooses wisely, then yes. Yeah.
Somebody in the comments said it's all about the money, baby. Women not looking for no Women aren't dating broke dudes. Anonymous said that. It's all about money, baby. Women aren't dating broke dudes. And I think he's oversimplifying something that if a man is clearly broke and doesn't seem to have a way out of broke, yeah, I'm not interested. He should have a strategy out of there. That should not be his habitat. That should be a temporary place because something went wrong or because it's a season in his life. And I trust and believe that he will find his way out of that. And I believe that I'm the caliber of woman that will support, encourage, and do everything that I can to make sure that we move out of that zone. Dr. Alicia, do men get enough recognition for their sacrifices in relationships?
Clearly not. Because if men got enough recognition, we wouldn't have a man calling Russell Simmons lame for providing for his family. I think that men like Anonymous and some other people in the chat, I think that maybe they have histories. If I could imagine, they may have their own personal history of feeling like they've been taken advantage of. And they have been, and I think that they come from a place of hurt and fear. I see them reacting and responding online most recently, and I think that they have bring into this conversation their own histories of being taken advantage of and feeling like they are not being appreciated for what they may have done or what they've seen other people have done, and they've been deeply wounded by that and deeply affected by that. So I think that I think there's a lot of healing and there's a lot of ongoing work that needs to be done in this area to tease all of that out and deconstruct and to get these wounded individuals a place where they can be affirmed, where they can start to feel whole, where they are put in a place where they can make meaning of whatever happened to them that was traumatic. Because I think that's what I'm definitely seeing here, this outburst of trauma that I'm seeing. And I think that's sad. So I would say maybe not for individuals who would look at Russell Simmons and others and call them lame. I think those are people that are coming from a place of deep-seated hurt in their past. So I wish them all well.
And your final thoughts? I think we didn't get any final thoughts from me.
Oh, that's my final thought. How about that? Let's do that. Let's do.
Where can we find
you got some
Dr.
work
Alicia?
to do. Find me at coachingwithdralicia.com. I do have a book club. I just want to highlight here. Hopefully I can highlight it just real quick. If you want to join my book club, because we're having conversations about how to be an adult in relationships, go to draliciabookclub.com. It's free, and join me on Sunday. So,
Mary, just quickly, where can we find you before we go to
Wall Street Lawyer?
Oh,
I'm sorry. TheWallStreetLawyer.com and BlackWallStreet.com. The Wall Street Lawyer on all social media, Instagram, TikTok, at The Wall Street Lawyer. And my final thoughts, this topic makes me think, yes, men are supposed to be the head. I like my man to be the head. But we have to remember, they say the man is the head, but the woman is the neck. Final thoughts.
Absolutely. Aisha, do men get enough recognition for their relationships? And let's make those your final thoughts and let us know where we can find you, please.
Thank you. I agree. I think men are not given enough credit, I don't think, in our community. That is why there's a lot of brokenness too, because the men are usually the head of the household, and they're not given enough credit. So they feel either overlooked or not valued. And I hope that even we now, as we see this happening, we can find a way to start valuing them. And even if it means, us, if we have brothers or boys, start working with them and training them now so that they can understand the value of being a good man. And then we actually value them as men and treat them in such a way so they can grow up understanding that role that they will be playing in future. So that value, will continue over time. But the ones that we know of today, I don't think they're valued enough, because, Black men people are afraid of them for one reason or the other. I don't know why. So consequently, everything negative is being thrown at a Black man. Everything negative. I have 7 Black brothers, and I love my brothers. My brothers are amazing men. So for someone to tell me that, that my brothers are not good enough because of their this or that will make me feel bad. So I think that we also have to do more work to recognize our men and show them respect and love and support. And for people like Anonymous that we also have here, sometime again, like I said, maybe it's brokenness, and we can tell from the way somebody's negative all the time and spewing on other people. You can't tell me it's because you care about people. It's because something is hurting you, so you're projecting back to people all the negativity. So we can help, hopefully, people to be on the right track and show them care and love. But where can you find me? I'm in the Black Business School. I love being part of the Black Business School. Our goal is to help everybody elevate to the next level, rise to the next level. And you can find me there or at aishaverzi.com. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Aisha. And thank you, ladies, for today. I'm going to keep my final thoughts down to like 30 seconds. I'm not going to talk about whether Black men are appreciated or not. I'm rather going to implore us to really appreciate them, because I believe that Black men really do bear the brunt of being Black, especially in America. They really go through a lot, and it would be nice if they were just shown some love, compassion, and appreciation. My name is Noma Langa. I am the queen of M3, Marriage, Motherhood, and Money Making. You can find me at nomalanga.com. I'm also in the Black Business School. This has been a great show. Thank you so much, ladies. I always appreciate all the different perspectives. That's a wrap for today's episode of Fly Nubian Money. We've unpacked what it truly means to provide, protect, and show strength in relationships. Remember, it's not just about money. It's about respect, partnership, and building a life together. Thank you, queens, and we'll see you all tomorrow.